Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel. Are you ready to make a star block that you can incorporate into a baby's quilt, throw pillows and such? Well, let's get started and I'll show you how it's done. And the block requires only 3 different prints of fabric, and we're going to begin by making 4 little triangles out of 2 of our fabrics. And you can either go free-handed and just go ahead and cut your block without the drawn lines, or you can draw the lines as well. What I like to do when I do draw the lines is when I'm marking, I mark from the inside out. That way it helps prevent stretching when the fabrics are cut on a bias. And then with our coordinating fabric, we're going to be cutting it in half on the diagonal. Now we're going to prepare our mini triangles into 2 separate pieces. And if you notice on the little triangle pieces, there's a long side and a short side. We're actually going to be sewing the short side together. And this is a little trick that I do for myself is when I need all of my blocks to be identical, I like to go ahead and build 2 of them. That way it develops a pattern. And we're going to be sewing with the scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now once sewn, we're going to iron, and we're going to iron either open or to the dark side. And now we're going to be placing our 2 halves together, and we're going to be sewing with the scant 1/4 inch. Now it's time to trim our block down to 4.5 inches. Today I'm going to be using the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer, but you can also use a traditional ruler as well. When you're using the traditional ruler, you just have to make sure your block is ironed open prior to trimming. And how you use the trimmer is you line up your stitch line with the ruler onto your fabric and then trim. And with the ruler you can also pre-cut the dog ears, but I just use scissors. And now it's time to iron our fabric. To prevent any stretching of the fabrics, what I like to do is just press my iron down onto the fabric after I relax the seams. Then I open up and press toward the dark side. And now it's time to trim off the dog ears. And then I want to double check to make sure my block is square. And now it's time for the block assembly. What I like to do is put the center block first, and then I'm going to add the corners. And now we're going to begin to add the star pieces. We're going to be putting the larger half piece all toward the center of the block. Now we're going to be placing column 2 onto column 1 and sewing with a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I will be chain piecing the blocks, so I'm going to stack them in order to sew. Now we're going to be adding column 3 to column 2. And since I cannot stack my blocks here, I do like to pin. And now sew with a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And now we're going to be ironing row 1 and row 3 in one direction and row 2 the opposite. That way we can nest our seams. Now we're going to be attaching the lower sections together. I begin by pinning the ends. And to nest the seams, we're going to match up the seams. And if you notice how whenever we ironed section 2 one way and section 3 the opposite. And by doing that, it allows the stitches to lie flat. And when I pin diagonally. And now repeat on the opposite side. And now sew with a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And now iron and trim if needed. I just absolutely love this block. You can use it into throw pillows, baby quilts, all types of quilts with or without sashing. And I'm also going to be leaving the 8-point star quilt block. It's another nice block to make as well. Well, happy sewing, everybody. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.